This week on Dayton Approved, are you fit? Do you feel confident with your body weight right now? That's right, we're talking about it. We've got John Hardin with Liberty Fitness, and he's going to tell you how you can get the perfect sculpted body that you want. But not only that, it's all about mental health. He's got this new program out there called Simp to Superhero. That's right, Simp to Superhero. Come on in and let's make you a superhero tonight.
Welcome to the Dayton Approved Podcast with Frank O'Neill. This is where the local Dayton businesses get a spotlight.
Welcome to Dayton Approved, exploring Dayton's small businesses and nonprofits with Dayton Discount Furniture. Today we've got John Hardin here with Liberty Fitness. How are you doing today, John?
Doing well. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing all right. It's actually a weekend. It's a Saturday, so can't complain. It's a beautiful day.
No.
Beautiful day here in Dayton.
Absolutely.
Well, let's jump right into it. Obviously, you do fitness, hence the name Liberty Fitness.
Absolutely.
So I know you got a couple of core values, or I guess you could say mission statements that you, or mission statement, I should say, that you kind of go by. And the thing is you like to do a leaner, stronger, and more confident, I guess you could say, workout plan is what you try to do.
I want the workout program that I give people to seem super easy. I want them to go through it, come out on the other side with success, and I want them to think, wow, that was easier than I thought, simpler. And the result I want for them is I want them to feel leaner, stronger, and more confident. I just want it to be a very efficient, streamlined process that they're like, what? That was it?
Yeah. So basically they're like, wow, this is a lot easier than I thought it was going to be.
Absolutely.
Well, that's great. So as far as, let's break it down a little bit. Like, what are some things that you do that, we'll start with leaner. Like, how can you make something, make them leaner? Or like, what is, just some, examples that you do?
Well, as far as them being leaner, fat loss is the top thing that most people come in for, right?
Right.
So for being leaner, a lot of that is, habits, tracking intake, things like that. Again, it's walking them through a process that makes it seem easy or simple to them. So if they're spending more than like 10 or 5 or 10 minutes a day, tracking their intake, if it's a complicated process, realistically, they're not going to do it. As an example, I once had a client who had lost a fair amount of weight already through bariatric surgery. Okay. And they hit a plateau because when you don't change your habits or anything, you do hit a plateau. All it does is it kind of forces you to eat less, right?
Right.
So when he hit that plateau, he was still overweight. He wanted help. I asked him, as I ask many clients, hey, what are some things you're willing to change, not willing to change?
Yeah.
He didn't want to stop drinking, and he really liked to drink, right?
Yeah.
So
let's talk about that. Like, what do you mean, like everyday drinking, like occasional?
No, it was. I mean, best I could tell by looking at his tracking, it was most days.
Yeah.
It was definitely a more of a heavier drinking habit.
Okay.
Which does make fat loss a lot harder to come by.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a totally different plan.
Yeah. So in his case, I had to make it really simple, make it not overwhelming. I gave him macro goals, actually not even full macros, just protein and calories, and that was it. And he would try to get really low calorie, really high protein in the morning, just so he could drink pretty much every night.
Yeah.
And he lost a lot of weight doing it on that program. So again, now is that what would work for most people? No, it shouldn't work for most people. You wouldn't want most people to do that. But taking the complication out of it and making like, I think I can do that, and then doing it, and then building that confidence in yourself up for the rest of your life that if I ever need to do this again, I can do it.
Right. Yeah. And I don't know if how the story ends. I mean, does he ever drink, I'm assuming he hopefully over time probably stopped drinking a little bit more. Like, I don't know if you noticed that go down, or did he just keep that constant drinking?
I I don't recall seeing the drinking habit go down too much, but
I just thought maybe it would build confidence in that department.
no,
too,
I mean, he did have an easier time making changes in what he drank. So eventually, he was more okay with drinking like lower calorie drinks and things like that. So he did make some changes, yes.
Yeah.
And those are not the big thing here. Is those are changes I didn't ask him to make. He had enough confidence at that point to make some of those changes on his own, which
And it
is
just starts
kind of
snowballing into its own
absolutely
ordeal. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, it was.
That's cool. Well, that's great. That sounds like a great, that's pretty successful story. Someone, and I think you were saying before in the pre-show, you're saying like he also had other personal trainers like in the past, or he had other programs he tried, but they kind of like
Oh yeah.
didn't really work for him because they didn't, take that consideration.
Oh yeah, he not only had other people he had tried working through, but he also had a nutritionist he was currently working with at the time, and a doctor who both hadn't changed his habits. He told me after the fact, they had tried to get me to start tracking my intake, but it always seemed like it was going to be too much. But when I told him about it, it didn't seem like that much.
Yeah.
Which was the difference. It's like if you know what to do, yet you don't take the action, you don't get that success. So what do you have to do to get somebody to actually take that action?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you were able to get him to listen because you were able to explain it in terms that he really could understand.
And that he could buy into instantly.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's huge. That's huge because I know that there's a lot of people that want to, do health and they want to do a little fitness and they, whatever it is, there's something blocking them, right? Holding them back. Mm-hmm. So if you can find that out and actually have that open and honest conversation with the person, chances are you're going to have success.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's cool. That sounds like a wonderful, wonderful thing that I don't really hear a lot of personal training fitness people doing. So
yeah.
I've had a couple in my past, and honestly, I couldn't tell you who they were. It was just kind of a in and out type of deal, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of sad if you think about it, but yeah. It's a different approach is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, but most people in this industry, they don't stay in long. Usually, the average trainer, the stats, and they usually make less than minimum wage and the reason they do on a yearly basis is because it's not really minimum wage. It's that they're working part-time. They're doing it while they're doing other things, while they're putting themselves through college. So when you're young and you just start this and you've just been certified and you've taken a job at like LA or wherever, you don't have enough experience to get all your stupid mistakes out of the way. And I have plenty of them.
Yeah, sure. We all do.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, that leads us to your story. So, how did you decide you wanted to get involved in doing fitness in general? Like, what brought you to this great, conclusion? Like, hey, I'm going to do this full time. I mean, you just literally just said most people probably do it part time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you made the leap. You did it, and here you are.
Well, it started actually from childhood, and it didn't start with fitness. It started with nutrition. I grew up in a very poor family. All of my friends were right in the same Section 8 housing complex as me, and some of them anyway. And my parents, they loved me, but they were not financially or emotionally prepared for children. So a lot of the things we ate were not the healthiest food in the world, and I got sick a lot as a kid. And so when I moved out and started paying my own bills, buying my own groceries, I noticed very quickly that when I spoiled myself, in my mind, it was being spoiled by buying like grapes, just things that were fresh food. I stopped getting sick, like completely, like all of my issues just went away. And that got me really, really interested in nutrition. And after I basically started eating perfectly, I saw it as a waste to not also go and work out.
Right.
And then obviously my passion changed from there because working out, it's like fun. It's like numbers. You're beating levels. It's like a video game. It's like you now that you've gotten to the top of the rep range with this weight, now you get to go to the next weight. And it's a really fun thing, and it gets a little addictive.
Now, nutrition. Typically, isn't it kind of like backwards though? Like, don't most people do like the fitness and they're like, okay, now I gotta get my nutrition under control? Like, isn't that like typical, or is it the other way, the way you did it?
It depends on people's stories, I guess. I think everybody kind of knows what they have to do. So someone might feel like they're getting heavy into fitness at a certain point in their life, but someone else might look and be like, no, you're not into fitness. You're just going and running on the treadmill every day. That doesn't count. Like,
Right.
everybody has their own standards for that
Yeah.
sort of a thing. But a lot of us know at least a little bit of what we're supposed to be doing already. Maybe, and then when they really get into it, they go as hard as they can, and then they find out maybe they didn't get the results. So in their mind, I didn't do enough of the uncomfortable thing, and then it takes them away from that action.
Right.
I think the bigger issue is not which part they're getting into first. It's, do they hit that wall where they're like, well, I tried and then I failed.
Yeah, getting to that block
Yeah.
or whatnot.
I mean, if I had to take a guess based on my own mindset and people I've run into contact with, I mean, obviously I'm a fitness trainer, so I'm going to see more of the people who get into fitness first.
Right.
And then I have to come back and say, okay, now we also have to focus
Yeah,
on
let's
nutrition.
not forget about the nutrition part. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, didn't want to interrupt your story, but let's keep going.
No, you're good.
Let's keep the story going. So you found nutrition first, then you did fitness, and you started getting into fitness. Is what you were saying? That's where you left off.
I got really obsessive with it. I had a business mentor, when I was younger, who when he saw me starting to get into weightlifting and all that, and he had to be the one to tell me that, John, you need to eat more. You're not eating enough.
Right.
And going through hitting those walls every now and then, kind of learning as I went. And then when I finally figured some things out, I was like, you know what? I think I want to do this. So I had a business that I actually shut down back then, and I decided I wanted to go into fitness full time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was
So that was your aha moment then, I guess.
that was my aha moment. I realized I loved it. I wanted to help other people make those same changes. I actually, because I wasn't a super athletic kid. I played soccer, but in middle school and high school and all that. Because I wasn't a super athletic kid, in my case, in my 20s, I was like, wow, this is the best shape I've ever been in.
Yeah.
And it only got better and better. So I was like, I want this for everybody.
Yeah. So you got real excited about it.
I did.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can see that. I can definitely see that. Like, it just kind of spirals to that next level. You're like, I did it.
Absolutely.
Well, that's cool. So, and when was that, I guess? What year was that you said? That you decided to do that, change that switch over? Do you remember?
When I made that change, I want to say maybe when I made the decision I want to do that, maybe 2013, but I didn't actually start. I started dabbling in it. I started helping other people in the fitness industry and all that, but I didn't actually start my own business until 2015.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I remember you were saying in the pre-show in 2013 you had a pretty serious ordeal that happened. That really was an influence as well at the same time.
True. So I guess the time I started getting into fitness would have been a year or two before that, technically,
about
because
that?
I was already into it before that wreck happened.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So tell us about that.
So, it was a high-speed car accident. There was a cop, and it was a highway patrol officer right in Beaver Creek. I was going down 35, and me and my brother were in the car, and he was starting to turn off of 35 onto Shakertown, which, for probably we're part of the reason that intersection doesn't exist anymore. But the cop, we know he was going way over 100. At least, and he was able to slow down, we estimated, to around 100 at the time of impact. So he slammed into us, T-boned us. My brother was thrown from the car, a lot of road rash, broken neck. And we're both doing fine now, by the way.
Yeah.
But
Thank goodness.
And then the cop hit on my side. I had some issues with my hip and shoulder, but the only big issues I had was lacerated spleen, broken jaw, and then because of the spleen, I wasn't allowed to work out for a while. I had a time of inactivity.
Right.
So during that time, I developed scapular dyskinesis and piriformis syndrome.
Oh, man.
Which are two of the top issues that when you have clients coming in with hip or shoulder pain, those are two of the top issues that some of my clients deal with. So when they come in and they have this issue, I can be like, yeah, I know how to help.
Exactly.
It's really helpful.
You got experience.
Yeah. So that got me really involved with corrective exercise in my business for a good long time. And even today, even though that's not my primary focus anymore, it does help me when these clients have aches and pains and things they're trying to get past. One of the guys who I helped with, he had debilitating back pain due to doing flooring for years. Only took a few months to completely get rid of his pain.
Wow.
So it's life-changing when you deal with something like that, but I think that wreck is what started me going down that path.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. Whatever happened to the other guy?
Oh, the officer?
Yeah.
He did not really. I forget if I know he did not have any serious issues. I think he was put behind a desk for a while or something,
okay.
but he actually was promoted a while after that. So I don't know, but he didn't get he wasn't seriously hurt or anything,
That's
since he was the
wild.
one who hit head on.
Yeah. But still, you would think it would do something. You're going hitting anything at 100 miles an hour.
Oh
right?
yeah.
You
Well,
know?
I mean, you hit head on, and that's kind of the way the car is designed to. If he had any serious injuries, I never heard about him.
Right.
He might have been knocked out like we were, but I didn't hear about him having anywhere near the recovery we did, because
Yeah.
he was back working pretty quick.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild. So is he still around? Do you know? Or?
Oh yeah, he's still employed. I think last I heard he's on medical leave for a separate issue.
Oh,
but
wow.
We won't get into all that.
Yeah. Okay. I was just curious. Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah, the guy who hit us, he was a new cop.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
imagine. Probably.
Yeah.
Yes. Learning. You know how that is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah, that's not cool, but
Yeah, he was learning too, so it's
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
It's okay.
Well, so then that brings us to the next part of your story, which is basically a couple of years later that's when you started Liberty Fitness, right? About 2015.
Yeah. And I started working independently as much as I could. A while after that, a friend of mine opened up a gym. I started kind of helping with that and training out of that gym. And I've stayed there for my in-person clients. I stayed there for the most part, and it's been a blast. I can't imagine doing anything different. My focus has changed a few times. Corrective exercise. After a while, I started focusing on helping men, even though I have plenty of female clients still. But the focus of that has changed. I just love the people I work with.
Yeah, so that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, that's a very interesting and kind of crazy story, but we all got good stories, right? That's
Yes.
how everyone's life is.
Yes.
So, no, it's really interesting, and how nobody really knows exactly what path or where they're going to go in life, but it sounds to me like, just with your story, you're where you're supposed to be.
Oh, I love
And
it.
that's important. That's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there that still trying to figure it out. So
Yeah.
you're blessed in that department.
I'll be doing this until I die. So.
There you go. So let's talk about how does your business contribute to local community and the economy. I know you said you do like a lot of networking and referrals. So talk a little bit about that.
Well, yeah, the way that when I first started doing what I'm doing, I tried to network kind of normally and just try to, hey, let's reciprocal referrals, things like that. But what I figured out real quick is that it was mostly all about the relationships of the people I was meeting while networking. So I stopped focusing on trying to, build a business and started focusing on making friends instead. And once I did that, my network just kind of exploded. I love helping local businesses. I love getting to know people and getting to be the guy that people ask for when they need something. It's great. In addition to all that, there's a large men's group down in the Cincinnati area. Well, based out of there. It's a lot of it's online. But a friend of mine started this community of men that help each other with all sorts of things, whether it be character building, dating, relationships, finance, fitness, stuff like that. And we're all involved in this group. And this guy helped me with a lot of things in my personal life. And I love trying to pay it forward and help other men as well. So that's another.
So would you say that you're a male advocate?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, absolutely.
My one of my buddies, he says that he's like, I'm a male advocate because we live in a world where like they try to almost shame you for saying I'm a male advocate.
Yeah, how dare we?
I know, right? But us men, we need to stick together, and we got our own things we got to figure out.
Absolutely,
so that's one of the things I love about you. We've talked about this before, but it's interesting how men in society have so many expectations to meet, but
we do
very little. We don't get influenced correctly, I guess you could say, or we don't have, the proper system set up to be influenced on these expectations of us.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. There's a lot of expectations put on, but we're not told the kind of expectations we should have of others very frequently. Are we? Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's interesting how we got to where we are in today's society. But
yeah.
Yes. Us men, we stick together. We can, yes, solve problems.
We can. We absolutely can.
So what's some of the things that sets your business apart from others in the area?
The top thing I feel like that sets my business apart compared to other, fitness coaching related businesses, things like that, is the focus on, efficiency, ease, simplicity, focusing on getting action.
Yeah.
When I started deep diving into nutrition, and I wanted to get more education on that, I got my education through an organization that focused solely on habit-based nutrition.
Yeah.
Because it's not, you can have the best plan in the world, you can have the thing that would work the best for somebody, but if you can't get them to make that change, then it's worthless.
Right.
So my focus is on what works, not what the best possible solution is, because you can tell someone to do something and they might say, "No, I don't want to do that." So,
right.
And so when you can do more with less time and less energy, if one of my clients, he's lost a big amount. He's lost over 100 pounds. He's put on a bunch of muscle, and he's done all this with working with me. I only see him for 2 hours a week. That's it.
Yeah.
2 1-hour sessions. That's
amazing.
And so being able to do a lot with a little, that's really what I love to focus on, because people have lives outside of the gym.
Right.
And if their life gets complicated, if they have a tragedy or something, this is going to be the first thing they cut out.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
They're going to say, well, I got to go do this now, and whatever it is, I got a vacation, or I got,
Yeah, and one crisis makes it easier to justify the next one.
Of course.
Is the way it works.
Yeah, it's like this weird trickle-down snowball effect that...
Yeah.
Well, like you said, we cut out things in life that we're uncomfortable with,
yes.
right? But uncomfort is the area of growth.
Yeah.
That's the
absolutely.
only way you can grow is with what you're uncomfortable with.
Yep.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
So can you share with us any recent successes and milestones that you've had?
Well, as far as the entity Liberty Fitness is concerned, this is technically our 10th year.
Yeah, which is huge, because they say, the old saying is, the first year, 1 out of 10 survive, and then you take the ones that survived 10 years out, again, only one survives. So technically, only 1% make it to 10 years.
Yeah,
so that's huge.
Going to be here forever. I love what I do. So yeah, that's a big thing. And over the last 2 years, clientele has definitely doubled.
Yeah.
Not just and the quality of the clientele is higher too. I've been able to figure out who I can help the most with, be a little picky.
Yeah.
And every time I show up to the gym to work with a client, it's a joy, not just for them, but for me.
Right.
So that's a big deal as well. Those are probably the 2 biggest milestones as far as Liberty Fitness is concerned that that I can point to and be happy about.
Well, yeah, I mean, anyone that can double their clientele, especially the last 2 years, which has been a rough couple of years, that's a very, very good success, I will say. Very good success.
Pretty happy.
Yeah, exactly. Now, as far as being able to double your clientele, tell us how you did it. I think you were saying something about trust.
The biggest thing is not being afraid to talk about things that might seem, personal, controversial, whatever. I know that this might be a bad move in some industries, perhaps, but for me, once I started being willing to talk with my clients about anything, even religion, politics, the things that they're supposed to be oh, no, you don't talk about those.
Right.
Once my clients knew who I was, what I believed, all that, it became a lot easier for them to trust me. And it's one thing to help someone, lose fat, put on muscle and all that. It's another thing for them to be comfortable sending their friends to you because they're like, oh, you'll like John.
Yeah.
And that's 2 completely different things. So once I started putting that other bit in where I would tell people, I have a client who politically, they are completely opposite aligned of me.
Yeah.
But because we've talked about it and they know, oh, I like him. I like the reasons he believes what he believes.
Right.
I might not agree with him on everything.
Right.
But they they're like, oh, yeah, you'll like John too. Go ahead, work with him. And that made it a lot easier to set up referral systems and things like that. And that's really where most of my business comes from anymore, is referrals.
Yeah. Has anyone been like, John, you're going to make me fit, and I'm going to make you, my political belief?
I mean, a lot of people, they might try, sure. It's fine. I mean, but even that, it's like, okay, tell me why. That's
Right.
where the conversation goes. It's like, hey, I'm open-minded.
Yeah.
And the fact that people can talk about those things without wanting to hurt each other or whatever.
And that's how it's always supposed to be. It's supposed to be an open dialect. It's supposed to be where you can talk. We can agree to disagree. And,
Absolutely.
We're all going to have reasons of why we like what we like, and it doesn't make it necessarily right or wrong. It just is, okay, well, that's a better fit for this person, and this thing is a better fit for that person.
Yep.
So it is what it is. Like, I mean, why get so crazy about it? Like, oh, they're wrong, or whatever it is. It's like, guys, nobody's 100% right.
Yeah.
There's no like, there is no like join in and that this one group completely fits 100% everything you believe and anything you do in life.
Yeah.
It's just how it is. I mean,
You're telling me I'm not 100% right?
oh man, well, I'm sorry you're not.
Oh.
but I mean, I've looked at it as growing a business myself, and it's like I couldn't. Of course, it'd be great if I could have 100 Franks working, all together. We'd get along and it'd be wonderful. That's not real though. So
No.
I've got, think about all the personality types in a workplace. And you got to get along. You got to make it work. It's a well-oiled machine, right?
Yep.
So not everyone's going to be happy all the time. That's just how it is. It's just the way it works. But as long as they're open, willing to listen, talk, communicate, and at least have a area of respected space for each other, anything's possible, in my opinion. And that's what it comes down to. So, no, that's cool. I mean, obviously you're going to have that opportunity to kind of get a little bit more, I guess you could say, intimate, because your business is one-on-one. It's not like you're, got 20 people out there and you're like, all right, guys, you do this, right? Because you're personal training.
Yeah.
So
I refuse to do any group-based things, at least on the in-person side. I refuse to do anything group-based.
Yeah. So, I mean, of course, you're going to have those opportunities where you're having these conversations, those one-on-one conversations, which obviously is different than if you're doing it in a group.
Yes.
As we all know.
Yes.
Well, cool. So, I guess that brings us to challenges. What type of challenges do you think you faced, being a local leader here in Dayton?
The top challenge that I faced, and it took me years and years to get past it, is I would be working with clients, and I could always get people results. That was never a problem. The issue was the business side. I had a mentor once who told me that, being a personal trainer, there's two parts to the job. One is doing a good job, getting clients results. The other is letting everybody know about it. And they told me I suck at that second part. So it's
brutally honest, we call that.
Yes. So focusing on that business side is really hard for me, because just because you're a good fitness coach doesn't mean you're a good business owner. And I was a horrible business owner. So the top challenge I faced is getting past that. Being okay with the idea of sales and marketing and all that. Retention always came fairly easy to me, but everything else on the business side, even knowing what your prices should be, all that.
Oh yeah.
I needed to put a lot of effort into actually doing that, and ultimately, it's so I could help more people. We all grow up with this idea. Well, not all of us, maybe some of us have more positive influences, but we're taught to think of sales as slimy, like the used car salesman, and ultimately, if you feel like you're doing something that's good for the world, you should be trying to get it out there to as many people as possible. You should
absolutely. I mean, so they say the way it goes is your house is your most expensive thing you buy. Then goes your car.
Yeah.
Then goes the home furnishings. So I'm number 3. So number 2, it's like slimy salesperson, and then I get a lot of people that are like, slimy furniture salespeople. So if you go to a furniture store, you're going to get that guy that's like, what can I get you? How can I help you? And then they just start following you around while you're trying to figure it out. And you're like, dude, just leave me alone. Like, we don't do that approach. We are completely the opposite. We are the greet. I call it the greet and push off. And some people don't expect it. They're kind of like, what is this? Because they're expecting to be like, having a puppy dog following them around, And it's like, we don't do that. Like, we're here to help you. We're like, our polite way of asking how much you got is what's your budget. Like, we're just trying to figure it out. We're here to help you. I've done all the research. I know that we're going to be the best priced. I know we're going to have the best customer service around especially for the price. I know we're going to have the best quality products for the price. Like, I've done all that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need you to tell me that, like, you can get it at some other BS place that's made up in your head for less. All right? Like, it's true. It's not real. I saw this over here. I'm like, okay, show me where. Can't find. There is no result, like, every time. Now, if there is a result, we'll match it. It happens occasionally. Like, people have sales. I get that. But our everyday low price, like, this is how we do it. Like, we're there. I
Makes
know
sense.
we are, right?
Yeah.
We try to cut all the BS out. So the whole point of what I was getting at was, I can't even remember what you said. I went off on a tangent, and I totally.
Oh no,
went
you're
blanking.
good. I was just saying that if you believe you're doing something positive for the world.
Yes, so something
yeah.
positive. So my whole point is, like, that's our approach, but a lot of places are like that. Like you said, you're like, oh, sales. Even
Yeah.
if you don't buy furniture, people have this programmed in their head, sales, slimy, scumbag.
Yeah.
We don't do that. We're trying to get to the point or whatever. But more importantly, I tell people, we're looking for the best mattress that fits you.
Yeah.
You want the cheapest mattress? Sure, we'll get it for you. But we need to find the best one that fits you because, as you know, being in fitness, sleep is very, very important.
Yes.
So if I sell you a $300 to $200 POS, I'm not doing a service or a justice for you. I'm going to explain to you why. Like, look, this mattress is good for like a guest bed. It's not an everyday sleeper. You're going to probably have to get a new one in a few years. It's better for you to do this mattress because this is where you're going to get your actual proper sleep. You might even need, sir, you're a little bit older, you got some aches or whatever. An adjustable bed base is probably a better fit for you as well. Because that way you can sleep in the zero gravity position, which is going to give you better blood flow. And I mean, there's doctors that back stuff up. We have mattresses that are HSA certified, so you can use an HSA account because it's got that good of a health benefit.
Nice.
There's not many of them out there that are qualified for that, but we actually just started carrying some that are. So this is a real thing where it involves your health.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And then
we're not-
those people get good sleep, and they can take better care of their loved ones, and
Exactly.
it always fans out when you put good out there.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but that's my point. Is like that approach is the same approach that you take, which is like what's the best fit. What is we're not trying to just be a slimy salesperson. Finding someone a mattress. I mean, I've seen it where they've slept terrible, have back pain, or they have multiple surgeries, and then they get a good one from us.
Yeah.
And we get the phone call a week later. You've changed my life. That means something.
Yeah.
That feels good. That's what we want to do. Of course, we'll sell you whatever you tell us that you want to do and what you can afford, but we'll figure it out. If, like, I just tell people point blank, like, this isn't the best fit for you, but we'll sell it to you.
Yeah.
And then if they don't listen, I say, well, the last time we sold that mattress, the guy bought it for his dog.
So there are dogs that don't sleep in the bed with you. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Now that would have been a good comeback. Well, I sleep with my dog, so what's the problem, sir?
Wow.
Oh, man. But anyway, not to get too off track here. But yeah, I mean, that's what it comes down to is the best, trying to find the best fit, trying to do what's right, trying to actually help the client or the customer. That's sales. So you were talking about, the sales part in your business and developing that. And then you realized, actually, we can have fun with this. We can actually do good with this.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of almost like an opposite switch, a 180 in a weird, interesting way of the thought process,
Yeah. The first time you feel comfortable with that, I mean, it's life changing because all the shame that comes in, like when you bring up your price, it just it makes things more comfortable on you, which instantly makes it more comfortable with them.
Right.
So yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah. So bringing that confidence and
Yeah.
like you said, making it comfortable.
Yeah.
Just doing
It's just
it.
another part of the process.
It
of
is.
getting them the success. Yeah.
Exactly.
Got to get them to pull that trigger.
It
So,
really,
yeah.
really is. All right. So that brings us to how do you collaborate with other local businesses and organizations to support the community?
Well, I mentioned the men's group.
Yes.
That I work with, and I try to contribute everywhere there I can. I've connected people to people who can provide legal advice if someone's maybe going through a divorce or something, or if they're dealing with something else. There's all sorts of ways I like to help usually men who are going through some transitional phase in their life, and that's a passion of mine. But in addition to that, one of the kind of business networking organizations here in the Dayton area is called H7.
Yes.
And,
H7.
Yeah, and the guy who's the founder, Clay Hicks, I get along with him really well, and that's an organization where everything's kind of based on the relationships only. It's not just, hey, everyone tries to exchange as much business as they can. You're only encouraged to exchange business if you like the people who you're dealing with. Makes sense?
Right.
So I'm to the point now where most of the numbers that I have in my phone are friends who I happen to meet through H7, who I also have a great excuse to, like, hey, if somebody ever asks me, hey, do you know somebody who does this, I can send something out there. And I love supporting those local businesses.
Yeah.
It's a big deal to me because they're trying to do their livelihood. Usually it's aligned with their passions, just like mine. So it's a much bigger deal to us as small business owners when we help each other live out our passions.
Yeah. It's more than just what we want. It's about helping others.
Absolutely.
And I think people at an older age realize that. It's cool to realize at a younger age that, in a weird way, you gain by giving, which was kind of
Absolutely.
a BNI philosophy. But there's true. It's not just giving business. It's like giving time in your life. Like you gain so much more giving. That's why it feels good to give, a kid a toy or whatever, something that they want. Like we're not doing it we are doing it for the kid, but we're also getting something out of it. You get what I mean?
True.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it does feel good. I get it.
Right. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you get joy out of giving because you're able to be in a position where you can help and give back and do that.
Yeah.
So I get that. Like, the more you give, the more you gain. So
Absolutely.
it's definitely a interesting way to grow. And then other things fall in place.
Yeah.
They really do. And, just like you said, age 7, you give your time, you give your energy, and then what happens is these things fall into place. You meet people, you network, and here you are. You got a whole list of people that you can team up with.
Yeah, and then the guy who helped me out of that men's group in Cincinnati too, he didn't know he was helping me so much, but
Right.
I would keep on coming to him and ask him, hey, what would you recommend for books for this situation I'm going through? Do you, he would refer people to me, things like that. He didn't know when he was doing that. He does this all day. He helps a lot of people. He didn't know the change he was making in my life. So when I was in a position to kind of turn back around and say, hey, I want to help out, with what's going on here. It was. I'm sure it made him feel good too. It always comes back around.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right. Of course, of course. Well, that leads us right to any new projects or initiatives that's going on, and you've got a very exciting one that you've been working on that's getting ready to, I guess you could say, bust open.
Yeah. I've been working on this for over a year now. So a lot of people in my industry are trying to shoot for online fitness coaching. I kind of dabbled with it a little. I didn't take it super seriously, but as of a little over a year ago, I took it very, very seriously. I started working with a company who would help me on the software side. I already have the app ready to go. Automated systems for things like meetings, things like that. What I'm trying to do with this program, it's still mainly focused on fitness, nutrition, creating positive changes in that regard. But what would happen when I was doing in-person training for a while is I'd be working with especially the men, and because of the help I'd already received out of the friend of mine in Cincinnati, they would be dealing with certain situations, whether it revolve around dating or a lot of times.
Yeah, just life situations.
Yeah, things that were very specific to men. And because I had received so much help in my life in some of these areas, we would talk about that, and then I would, maybe recommend the same books that the guy recommended to me, or some of the same resources and things like that, and it would change their life.
Yeah.
And they would tell me about it after the fact, and they would be so thankful. And what I would find is it was making just as much of a difference working with them on their fitness as it was here. So in addition to kind of working with these guys in this online program I'm developing, with their fitness, nutrition, and creating leaner, stronger, more confident, in addition to that, we're focusing on men's issues, specifically character development, fitness, dating, finance, whatever. We're focusing on some of these things, and I'm not doing it by myself. I'm getting some help here, and this is a program we're calling. I came up with the name, a little bit of a tension-getting name, but we're calling it Simp to Superhero.
Yeah.
And it's a program that kind of creates all these changes at once, to where if these men just want to follow a fitness program, that's fine. But if they also want to hop on a group call talking about some of these other issues, they have the ability. Or if they want some of these other resources available that I've had made available to me, now they can have that and start making changes in some of these other areas of their life.
Yeah,
as well.
I mean, it kind of goes to what you're saying. Is like there's a lot of people that just didn't have that guidance. They didn't have that father figure in life.
Absolutely.
So what do? Where is an outlet or a resource you get? Unless you can get direct mentorship from like someone that's like, I'll be your mentor, like little brother, little sister program. Where else are you going to get it?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I was dealing with a therapist who was talking to me about this, and in order to get the kind of help, for a man, specifically a man in a certain stage of your life, in order to get that kind of help without paying for it, I suppose, you basically have to be a druggie. So it's kind of, and so what do you do when you have a man who's already kind of been, he doesn't know where to go, you know, or maybe he's been to a few therapists and hasn't gotten the help he's wanted, because so many people today grow up without any sort of positive male role model that can kind of go over some of these issues in such a way that nobody ever has, because when you start talking about some of these issues, a lot of people are just flat out demonized for it right away, which is unfortunate, but that's just the way the world goes.
Right. Yeah, no, I understand. Like having a mentor and talking to them and having that guidance is huge.
Not only that, but on the fitness side, men do have some issues that are specific to them. Men tend to work longer hours, more hours than women do. We tend to take more physically demanding jobs, all the dangerous jobs, the ones where you're most likely to injure yourself.
Yeah.
And we are far more likely than women to have certain compensations that, like a protruding head, tilted posterior pelvis, and all that stuff that lends itself to lower back pain, neck pain, shoulder pain, things like that. Those. If you ask a man and a woman to do a deadlift, and you take just the average woman and the average man, chances are the woman's going to have an easier time with it.
Really?
Just properly picking something up off the ground. It's as far as proper form goes. That is. So some of these things, need more focus for men. And having a program that kind of focuses solely on men allows to do a better job at that, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. So, I mean, you got both the physical part that's specialized, and then also throw in like, there's some other mental aspects, or like mental health, I guess you could say, aspects that come into play, like having a healthy outlet to talk, or place to talk about, men's stuff.
Yeah,
again,
absolutely.
being a male advocate.
Absolutely.
And this is what we need more in this world, because there are so many people, like I said originally, like, they don't have a proper father figure, or I think you said one of your clients, they said, I got 4 dads, or
he jokes about it now, but he was one of those guys that needed help in that area, because he had seen, it was a weird thing, he had seen his mother cheat on his father with his next half-brother's father, and then she did it again to another guy, and then she did it again. So in his mind, he's got all these issues that have come up because of that, and he doesn't know how to handle it. So in his case, it was a perfect example of someone who just needed to know how to navigate and properly put boundaries on that relationship. Now that he's a grown man with his mother and his 3 stepfathers.
Yeah, exactly, right?
But it's and like I said, we joke about it today. It's not a super negative
Yeah.
thing like it used to be, but that's the point. Getting past that issue, coming out on the other side, being
Right.
like, I'm okay. You know?
Yeah, people don't realize, like, what do you do when you have a mom that has given you 3 stepdads, you know?
It's,
or, you
yeah.
know, you've got stepbrothers of stepbrothers of stepbrothers, you know?
Yeah.
And you've got, like you're like, whoa, how do I deal with this? Like, nobody teaches you that life, and who's your dad and what's going on, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Or, you know, you could be in a situation where you're with someone and, like, you know, maybe they acted as your stepdad for, you know, 5-6 years because they were, you know, they were together. Your mom was together with them, and then all of a sudden, poof, they're gone.
Yep.
And it's like, where do you
Yep.
go? That was a good role model. Now my guy's gone. Like,
Yep.
there's so many issues that you don't know. People don't realize how it takes a toll on the kid.
Definitely.
But it also takes a toll on the dads too, because, like, think about that's the aspect of the man, right? Like, here I am mentoring, and all of a sudden, now I can't, because, you know,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, if you're dealing with, you get a relationship with someone that has a kid, and then it does go south, and you develop a good relationship with that kid, that tears a hole in the male too.
Absolutely, yeah. Solely because there's no legal rights there.
Yeah.
If 2 adults aren't getting along, that can be used as a weapon, definitely.
Yeah.
Like, you're not allowed to speak to my child anymore.
Right.
It was our child, now it's my child.
Yeah.
You know, like that does happen an awful lot. And
Unfortunately.
I've talked to plenty of men who have been going through that, and they need
Yeah.
to figure out how to get on the other side of that.
Yeah.
Without being an angry and bitter and all that good
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, because it does create a lot of resentment and this, like, you know, women are terrible, you know, type of deal. But it's just that one, not all, but you
Yes,
know, you know
yes.
what I mean? I mean,
Well,
I get that. And
Yeah.
females do it too. They get to this man-hating groove too. I've seen that, where it's like all men are terrible, and they just keep relating it back to whatever
Yep.
ordeal. It's like, no, whoa, let's calm down here. That's not the case.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting how people create these, I call, rabbit holes, and they can't get out of them.
Yeah. Yeah,
And then-
absolutely.
And then I watch them sometimes get out. They'll fall right back in. It's like, how do you get out and then cover that hole up? You know, fill the hole up. That's the secret, right?
Yeah. Do you mean like when they get right back in, they go date another single mom? Like,
Yeah, there you go. Maybe. I don't know.
I do see that a lot.
Yeah, like, yeah, exactly. I don't know. Maybe that, or
Yeah. Yeah. No. Like it's hard to get over anger sometimes. It
Yeah.
is. So yeah, but you know, that's what I'm passionate about. Obviously, it's still primarily focused on fitness, nutrition, wellness, all that good stuff. But a little more focused to a smaller group of people.
yeah, that makes sense. So, no, it sounds like it's something that is extremely needed. It sounds like something that has a lot of opportunity, and it sounds to me like this thing. I mean, I'm a believer. I mean, it's going to blow up. Like I said, what are your options as a male? Like, where do you go? Who do you talk to?
There's
you can
a lot
try,
of-
You can try to talk to your brother. You can try to talk to your own dad. But, like, you can try to talk to a therapist, like you said. But
There's an awful lot of amazing online communities
Yeah.
for people like that. I think the issue becomes in a lot of those online communities that people don't feel as comfortable talking to someone they barely know or don't have a whole lot of access to.
Right.
Like there's you know, I don't have much of a I don't know what the word is. I don't have much of a, I don't know if you want to call it a filter or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I felt perfectly fine reaching out to the guy
Yeah.
who started
You're a
this-
realist.
Yeah. Well, this guy who runs this like almost 11,000 person men's group, like I felt fine. It's like, hey, you want to talk? Like I was
Yeah.
fine. But most people aren't going to be okay with that because they're just going to assume, well, he doesn't have any time for me.
Yeah.
You know, and this is where somebody, a coach who can step in on a more like one-on-one basis or one on a few basis or whatever. This is a case where you now have much more quick access to that resource, and really that's something that I feel like, you know, most men just don't have. So yeah, that's where I feel like it's going to help a lot.
So, do you think this program? Like, I know it's new, right?
Yeah.
And it's like we don't know a lot of the things. But here's a question: is this program designed as something that's like, okay, we're going to fix people, or is it like kind of like designed where it's like I don't know, maybe I'll be on this program forever. You know what I mean? Like, I guess have you ever thought of it in those terms?
There's no fixing.
Yeah.
It's something that's going to help for as long as someone feels like it's going to.
So it's a personal choice.
Yeah, it's a personal choice for sure. But beyond just that, it's trying to think of a way to describe this. A lot of people have the same issues.
Yeah.
So awareness of it
Yeah.
is a big part of a lot of the work that needs done. For example, there's a book, an amazing book that I highly recommend for most men, called No More Mr. Nice Guy by Dr. Robert Glover.
Okay.
And it talks into this basic stereotype that a lot of men fall into, especially if they were raised by a single mother, of someone who's a people pleaser, right?
Yeah.
So they always work for female validation because that's what they've been trained to do their
Right.
entire childhood. And it talks about some
single mom.
Yeah, it talks about some of the habits they develop, and what you find, what a lot of men have found when they read this book is they're like, oh, this isn't me, and the more they read through it, they're like, oh my God, this is me. You know, I've never thought of myself because
Yeah.
when I was younger, I was not afraid of conflict at all. So
Yeah.
I never thought of myself as a people pleaser, but the more I read through this, I was like, you know what? The whole time I would have the most conflict with someone was when I would try to get them to like me, and then they didn't. Get what I'm saying? So because a lot of men fall under a lot of the same issues, it's a lot easier, especially sometimes in a group setting or a setting where you have the ability to talk to other men, to see and identify those issues. So any amount of time is going to be good for these men. That being said, of course, there's a value to continuing with a program where someone's helping you with your fitness, your nutrition, and you know, with you know, character building as a man.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. Sounds like a great book to read.
Oh yeah.
Even if you weren't like a single mom raising a kid, there are like situations where it's like, you know, maybe your mom got remarried and had a stepdad, but the stepdad just didn't step up.
Well, that's
a big one, you
To
know?
me, that counts as a single mom.
Yeah,
Because
in
here's
reality,
the thing. A stepfather is never going to have the same level of authority, even if they are told they have it.
Yeah.
That stepdad always knows in the back of their mind, I don't have. If we ever split up, I don't have this
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
They always know that, so they're not going to be as. And studies have actually shown that kids, even after a remarriage or whatever, the kids who don't have their biological parents still together, they are 63% more likely to have youth suicide, 85% more likely to have behavioral disorders,
Wow.
90% more likely to be run away or be homeless, 8 times more likely to have a teenage pregnancy. There's a lot of this stuff, and so obviously, you know, whatever a stepdad might have great intentions and everything, but obviously it's still different somehow.
Right.
So anyway.
Well, I mean, I also think that even if you had a marriage that was married, let's just say they were together, you could be, you know, if you were a mama's boy or whatever, you would still probably have some of the same issues, though.
Absolutely,
I would argue, where you want to be a people pleaser.
Yeah. It's one of many wonderful books that I've brought up in the past. But yeah,
That's
great.
that's very interesting. Well, that's going to get us to pretty much wrapping it up, unless you have anything else you want to talk about for the whole Simp to Superhero.
No, I think I brought up a whole lot. I'll have more to bring up as we get closer to launch, which is going to be within the next, I believe, 4 to 8 weeks.
Okay.
That we're going to be launching. We're just.
I mean, I might sign up myself. I probably should. I'm a simp. I want to be a superhero.
Whatever. It's going to be a great program as far as but right now a lot of my focus is still on the in-person business, what I do right here in the Dayton area. So I like I said, I love what I do there. While I'm developing this, I'm not making my in-person clients in any way pay for it with a diminished level of care or anything. So
Right.
if anyone wants to get a hold of me,
Let's talk about how to get a hold of you here. So how do people get a hold of you? I know you're saying your website.
Yeah, they can. It's libertyfitnessonline.com. People can. There's a lot of information there. I know a lot of people that go to my website. They click on the email, send me an email. The number to reach to contact via phone is 937-750-3112. And I believe I'm going to put a scheduling link up on the website here soon as well. I'm going to have that live again here for people who are interested in setting up an assessment, things like that. And that's for the in-person. On the online, I'm going to put some information out there via Facebook very, very soon, and people can kind of take steps
And
there.
what's the Facebook page that you did? Is it under Liberty Fitness right now?
I do have a Simp to Superhero Facebook page because a lot of what I've done over the years has kind of mixed personal and business. Like I mentioned earlier, I actually do a lot on my personal Facebook page. I just make it public to where everybody can see it.
Yeah.
So John Hardin, my name, people can easily tell which one is me based on all the fitness crap. But yeah, they can see that as well. And since April Fool's just passed, they can see stupid crap too, which is amazing. I put some weird stuff up on there that got a lot of attention. So I'm on Facebook a fair amount.
There you go. Cool. Well, that's going to wrap us up. Do you have any words, I guess you could say, of wisdom that you want to leave us with?
I guess the top thing that's kind of helped me personally in my life is the reason for doing the right thing in my mind has always been so, I can sleep well at night. So I can go to bed knowing that I lived a good day. It's not the golden rule or anything like that. It's like I want to do what I feel was the right thing that day for me and the people around me. More of a self-respect motivator there.
Yeah.
That's a rule I try to live by every day. Is like, hey, what's gonna make me earn my own self-respect on a moment-to-moment basis?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, good words of wisdom. It was a pleasure talking today, and I'm excited to check out
Happy
the
to be
whole, the new, Simp to Superhero deal. So, yeah, I'm very
Follow
excited.
to our Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, or your favorite podcast platform. Be sure to sign up for our email list and receive an email to watch the show. Wednesday at 8 a.m. Do you know a great Dayton business that you would like to see on the show? Visit our website at DaytonApproved.com and click on the Contact tab and tell us who you'd like to see.